Welcome back for another video. In this one we're going to unpack the key takeaways from the weekend's action, and then we'll talk about transfer plans with Gameweek 15 just round the corner. Next deadline's on Tuesday night. Let's start off with the Newcastle vs Man United game. Newcastle looked decidedly the better team with 22 shots taken to Man United's 8. Gordon delivered again. That makes him the first Newcastle player to score in 4 consecutive home games since Alan Shearer. 10-pointer for him. Trippier assisted his goal as well, which meant a 12-pointer for Trippier. Clean sheet for the Lascelles and Livramento gang. Livra started in left back and he had a solid game. Some are even wondering if Byrne comes back into the team if Livramento carries on his current form. Isak took 3 shots, 2 in the box, and he had an XGI of 1.08. So Gordon's yellow flagged at the moment. He was struggling a bit towards the end of the match. Howe was asked about this and he said, "I don't know at this moment in time, I hope he's okay. He just said he was feeling a tightness in his hip, fingers crossed it's nothing serious." So that's one to keep an eye on if you own him or if you're considering buying him. Not that we'll probably get anything concrete from Howe, he's always vague in his interviews. Late in the game, Pope dived to save a shot and he landed awkwardly. Unfortunately, it looks like he dislocated his shoulder, so he could be out for a while. Dubravka came on for the end of the match. Pope actually dislocated the same shoulder in 2018 when he was at Burnley, and he was out for 3 months for that particular injury. So if he's sidelined for a while, Dubravka suddenly becomes a great option for 3.9 mil. As it happens, West Ham and Newcastle rotate pretty much perfectly. Worst case scenario, if it is 3 months, then you probably get a run of about 11 straight good fixtures if you rotate these two. If you find yourself with nowhere to spend a transfer, or perhaps if you've got Turner and Areola, then it is a move to consider selling Turner. I suppose there is a potential goalkeeper signing in January, but Dubravka's a decent keeper, so it might not happen at all. Rotating these two gives you a potential fixture run of Everton, Fulham or Wolves, Luton, Nottingham Forest, Brighton, Sheffield United, Bournemouth, Luton, Nottingham Forest, Bournemouth, or then Nottingham Forest again. So it's a really nice rotation, so it is something to consider. It's a move I'm considering myself, more on that later. Arsenal 2, Wolves 1. 2.89 expected goals for Arsenal, big improvement on some of their recent underlying numbers, and they were largely a control, and the scoreline a bit flattering for Wolves. It was a Zinchenko mistake on the edge of the box that was punished. Unfortunately, clean sheet wipeout for those of us with Saliba, Gabriel, Zinchenko or Raya. Tomiyasu came off before the goal, so big return for the few that have him. It wasn't an injury substitution, reportedly just fatigue. Saka scored a well-taken goal. Zinchenko assisted the second goal, which was a quality one-touch sequence, which was buried by Odegaard. Another goalkeeper injury though in this game. Sarr came off around 26 minutes, which meant 3.9 mil Bentley came on. It doesn't look like the injury is nearly as serious as Pope's though, so Dubravka seems like the better pick. Bentley didn't concede after he came on, and he played over 60 minutes, so he actually finished with an 8-pointer. It had been 400 days since Saliba's last booking, and of course he got one this match. Classic FPL if you picked him up this week really. Nothing from Martinelli this game, who has been dodging the points in the league recently. Brentford 3, Luton 1. Again, classic FPL if you picked Mbeumo up this week, who was substituted off before 90 minutes for the very first time this season. However, he got the assist for Mee's goal off a corner, so not at all bad. In all likelihood, it was a tactical substitution with one eye on the Brighton game on Wednesday. It was 3-1 by this point. Mbeumo took 4 shots, 2 on target. 1 goal, 1 assist for Ben Mee for a 14-pointer. He's 4.8 mil. Luton registered the highest expected goals conceded of Gameweek 14 with 3.47. That was something we talked about in last week's videos, Luton's poor record in away games. They're worst in the league for expected goals conceded on the road. Wolves were the second worst for expected goals conceded this week, followed by Spurs. Brentford also came out on top as the best for expected goals conceded with 0.23. Unfortunate not to get a clean sheet if you had a defender or Flecken. Encouraging numbers anyway. Liverpool 4, Fulham 3. What a game this was. Fulham looked like they had the chance of an all-time great result at Anfield. They were 3-2 up at 86 minutes, and by the 88th minute they're 4-3 down. Trent with a quality free kick, which went down as a Leno own goal after a bounce off the bar hit him and went in. But then he scored the winner, which was a Tsimikas assist. Just the assist from Salah this game. Darwin took 3 shots and he rattled one off the bar, which was from a Salah through ball. The question is, will Tsimikas start midweek against Sheffield United? Matip went off with an injury, so we'll likely see Konate in centre-back next match. Or maybe if it's Gomez, that would be good news for Tsimikas owners. Hard one to predict, but I wouldn't be surprised if Tsimikas misses one of the next 2. Liverpool clearly missing Alisson between the sticks though. Keller didn't have a great game. He was one that we ultimately said is probably best avoided, as it looks like he'll get 2 more games before Alisson should return against Man United. Dubravka looking like the one for 3.9 mil. Well done if you held on to Watkins, 1 goal 1 assist versus Bournemouth. Solanke did great as well though, scoring himself, who some have picked up as of late. Cash and Diaby both bench, coming off the bench in the second half. We're really at the point now where a lot of nailed players are going to be key. Plenty of rotation coming across a lot of teams at the moment. The likes of Mbeumo, Saka, Salah, Son, Saliba, Bowen, Haaland, Solanke, etc. All the types of players that are going to be great picks and reliable starters. Of course, the odd player sprinkled into your team like Darwin, who aren't completely nailed, are still fine if they're good upside. A few other quick updates and observations. Bowman was past fit for the home game to Palace, but no returns from him on his return. Areola conceded once again. Still a massive drop off in clean sheets sustained this season. This weekend, Burnley, Everton and Newcastle are the only teams to keep one. Palmer was benched this week, but still a good pick. There were rumours circulating after the deadline, annoyingly, that he might have picked up an injury. He was fit enough to make the bench, assuming that was the reason he didn't start. So there's still every chance he starts next match, and I'd keep hold of him if I had him. Semenyo scored for Bournemouth against Villa. He's only 4.6 mil, and he could be a tidy replacement for Archer. He's got 3 goals, 2 assists this season. His next 5 fixtures are Palace, Man United, Luton, Nottingham Forest and then Fulham. So he's got Forest in Gameweek 18, when we'll be missing Haaland and Mbeumo, etc. And we're going to need to call on our benches, one for the watch list. Man City vs Spurs, what a game to win the weekend's action. 3-3 draw thanks to a late Kulusevski equaliser. No goals for Haaland, but he picked up 2 assists. Son with a goal, assist and an own goal. Despite the own goal, he still ended up with 2 bonus points as well. Rodri picked up his 5th yellow of the season, so he's actually going to miss the game against Aston Villa on Wednesday. Grealish also suspended for 5 yellows, so it could be another open game. Johnson got an assist and he got a 5-pointer. He actually looks like a great enabler for 5.8 mil, but it is pretty hard to overlook Gordon for 0.2 mil more. However, if we get news that Gordon misses out of a hip injury, then Johnson looks like a great option. So here's how the team looks for Gameweek 15. We'll dig more into how last Gameweek went and some talking points for next week, so make sure you subscribe if you're not ready for the team selection video on Monday. For audio listeners, it's Turner in goal. Very wishful thinking here, by the way. He obviously won't play, and Areola probably comes in, he's got Tottenham. In defence, Pinnock, Saliba and Tsimikas. Son, Saka, and Mbeumo, Gordon and Salah midfield. Watkins and Haaland up top. So Salah captain at the moment. It's hard to resist Salah captaincy against Sheffield United, who sit bottom of the Premier League table, and 39 goals conceded is 7 more than any other team. Gordon news is going to be key for transfer plans. The problem is how he's so vague in his press conferences. I feel like we won't get anything concrete from him. So unless there's news that Gordon misses out, then he'll stay, otherwise it'll be Palmer or Johnson that comes in. Fortunately, I sold Cash and Diaby for Pinnock and Mbeumo last week. I was very close to selling Gordon to Palmer instead, which also would have meant having to spend a transfer on Cash, but instead I can look elsewhere. So with that all in mind, there's 2 routes this week I like. Option 1 is to just roll the transfer. Option 2 is selling Turner for Dubravka. As we said earlier in the video, Newcastle and West Ham's fixtures rotate pretty much perfectly for a while, and I really don't see West Ham keeping a clean sheet away to Spurs at all, whereas Dubravka at least has a good chance. That frees up 0.1 mil, which isn't a lot, and it's going to be very tight to get the moves out ahead of blank Gameweek 18. In Gameweek 16, I might sell Tsimikas for Colwill, or maybe Gordon to Palmer, and then hopefully just upgrade Kabore and Archer after that. Lascelles and Semenyo 2 players in my thinking for later game weeks. Let us know in the comments how you got on and what your plans are this week. Don't forget it's a Tuesday deadline, so we're back very soon, and there's a lot more FPL videos to come before the deadline, so hit subscribe if you're not already. Thanks very much for watching, see you soon for the next one.